with Waleuska, and I have known you, what did I say, 14 years it's been?
Yes,
Yeah, it's been
something
quite some
crazy like
time.
that.
Yes. And I've grown up knowing your daughters and your family and being part of this wonderful world you have created for yourself and your girls. And I adore your girls. Oh my gosh. And I have seen you go through so many transitions, as you have seen me as well. You've seen me at my lowest and trying to trudge through that. And to see where we've both come and where we're at now and what our plans are for the future is very exciting. So I'm excited to share that today with listeners and let them know this journey that you went on and what you've come to create is so magnificent. And so I'm excited to jump in. So tell us a little bit about your story and what brought you here today to talk about gratitude and your journey through that path towards what you are today.
Thank you, Deva. By the way, yes, we have seen each other at our best and at our worst, and it's nice to be able to be here and give a little bit back to the community and to, I guess, tell people that there are ways that they can heal their lives. Basically, I created a system of gratitude. Sorry, there was someone here and I just was telling them to go. Everything that I have done up until this point in my life was for a single reason. I needed to heal myself, not only emotionally, but also physically. I got to a point in my life where I was extremely unhappy, and that unhappiness had me question my own existence. Even though I had blessings, I had a husband at the time, I had a thriving business, my two beautiful girls, my friends, and yet it sounds horrible to say, but the truth is I couldn't connect to any of it. I was constantly focused on everything that I didn't have, and I thought I needed to be happy. And that unhappiness over time manifested into a physical illness that affected my life in many ways. And it took about 3 years of really suffering and going from every conceivable specialist, jumping from all kinds of medications that had horrible side effects and didn't cure me. And I guess the frustrating part for me was not knowing what I had.
Mm-hmm.
They could see that I had this horrible irritation and they were doing all kinds of biopsies and everything will come back negative. So whatever I had was not registering in any of their conventional, ways to look at things. And that's when I felt that I had the responsibility to heal my own body, to heal myself. And the only way that I knew how to do it was going with it, because everything else I was trying, from outside sources wasn't working. So I turned to my spirituality and I started to look at my life from the inside out. That's the only way that you can truly heal, going from the inside out and understanding that we all have the power to heal ourselves, not just physically, but our lives. We were wired to thrive, not simply to survive. And you have to find your own power. You have to find your own voice, and you have to believe that whatever you're going through in your life, whatever challenge you have, whatever pain you're enduring, you have to believe that if the universe sends you that challenge, that is also sending you the tools to allow you to heal, those challenges that you have. So from my own experience, I started turning to gratitude. It was something that came so organically to me. I was raised very spiritual, but I never really practiced spirituality. But, at the lowest point in my life, I started to analyze my life in layers. And I knew that in order to heal whatever illness I had to heal the emotional and energetic component that was causing that imbalance in my body. Because, as you know, every illness, every disease, it's linked to an emotional imbalance. So you have to go through your life and look at yourself objectively and start peeling the layers. And you have to look back to your childhood. So if anyone's listening and you have any aspect of your life that you want to heal, my first suggestion will be to go back and look at your childhood imprints, your childhood wounds, and go back and address those, because everything that affects you as an adult is linked to our childhood. You know, that's the place where we birth our beliefs and our perceptions. That's the place that, you know, we learn to relate to the world. You know, the things that trigger us, the things that we love about ourselves, the way we relate to people. It's all learned in a very young age from our caregivers and our environment. So to me, that was a logical place to start. And I had to peel a lot of layers, a lot of things, I had to do a lot of forgiving of people, situations, decisions that I took, the choices that I made or I didn't make. And I had to find forgiveness for everything. And it was not until you start to really love yourself and find your own power that you begin to heal slowly. For me, it was very organic. I wasn't even aware that I was healing. I was just so focused on gratitude. I decided, I made it a challenge, I made it a game. Can I go a day without complaining? Can I go a day without feeling sorry for myself? I mean, you're a producer, you're an actress, so you relate to this. My biggest role was the victim. I played that role so well. I think I could get an Oscar on it. You know? Nothing was ever my fault. It was always somebody else's, right? I never took responsibility for my life. And in truth, you're the only one responsible. So we energetically attract everything in our lives, and people don't want to hear that. You know, people say, well, I didn't attract someone to betray me. And yeah, you did, because at some subconscious level, you were vibrating at a low energy that makes you susceptible to things that are also vibrating at a low frequency, right? So in order to change that, you have to peel every layer and heal them so that you can vibrate at a higher frequency. And that's exactly what happened to me. I started healing every aspect, forgiving every person. And about a month and a half into the gratitude that I was giving on a daily basis before getting out of bed, I realized that I was not hurting from the illness that I had. And I was like, oh my God, it was like a huge aha moment. See, because my brain was already so busy giving gratitude. You can only hold one emotion at any given point. So if you're too busy saying, thank you for life, thank you for my children, thank you for, you know, the fact that I got up this morning, you don't have time to be in fear. You don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. So it's a huge shift for me to realize that, oh my God, I have not once thought about the irritation. I'm able to, you know, function and work and be with my kids without thinking about it. And that's why I knew I had stumbled on a recipe to really lasting happiness. And so I started to make conscious effort of what I was doing. I started to write it down, and I started writing, I started talking to other people that had gone through a lot of painful experiences. And they would always ask me, what did you do? What did you do to heal your life? What did you do to heal your illness? And they're all looking for that magic pill. And unfortunately, there isn't one. You know, like anything in life that is worth doing, it requires a lot of effort, a lot of discipline, and having the self-love and resilience to take 3 steps forward, and sometimes you take 2 steps back, but you still stay on the path to healing your life. And really, that is how you change. And but if there was one thing, and one thing only that someone could do, I would say start your day with gratitude. And that's what gave birth to this incredible project that is called the Gratitude Experiment. And why it's called the Gratitude Experiment is that was never meant to be the name, but I wanted to test the concepts that worked to heal my life on other people. So to me, that was an experiment. That's the word that came into my mind. And so I, asked for volunteers, and we put this thing out there. And the gratitude experiment took 35 individuals through their life, and they had to heal every layer. They have to go through 28 days of healing, forgiving, finding love for themselves, being able to accept our imperfections and love them just the same. And the results were incredible.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
think
I
so.
can attest to that because I was part of that group and I saw what happened, and I have seen it blow up to unbelievable proportions, and the community that you've created, which, we'll get to. So, I'm here as somebody going, yes, this works, because I was part of that first group and loved every minute of it.
Thank you. Yes. And the formula is quite simple. I mean, I developed this system for the busy human beings that we've become. So it's 5 minutes. That's the entire commitment, is 5 minutes of your day before you get out of bed. That's the key ingredient. You can, okay, if you have to go to the washroom, fine. But if you can wait, don't go onto your social media, don't get onto your emails. Just as soon as you open your eyes, before your feet hit the ground, prime your body for gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
And what it does is beautiful. The minute that your body goes into a state of gratefulness, when you express love for life itself, for your blessings, it signals to your brain to create a cocktail of chemicals that match the same emotions that you are feeling. So it goes to work and it says, okay, that person's feeling love. We're going to create chemicals that create more love, more gratitude. Mm-hmm. And you end up, shutting the lights to anger, to frustrations, to fear, right? You're creating about 1,300 chemicals in your brain, oxytocin, where you give your body a pharmacy of chemicals that start healing your body. Mm-hmm. So it primes your body for the rest of the day. And that's why it's so important for people to do this first thing in the morning, not in the afternoon when your mind is already bogged down with problems and challenges. No, you want to feed your brain gratitude as the first order of the day.
It sets the pace for your day, because I found before I did the program, I would wake up in the morning and I wouldn't get out of bed right away, and automatically I would start thinking what I have to do during the day, what things or possible obstacles I may have to hurdle over that day. And so automatically we spend at least 5 minutes before getting out of bed thinking about the process of our day anyway. So 5 minutes before you get out of bed is nothing, because we're already thinking anyway. So I shifted to say, I'll deal with what I have to deal with later. Right now I'm going to focus on whatever was what you suggested for those particular days, and to spend 5 minutes just in sort of a meditative state and really sort of diving into those suggestions that you give. It set the pace for my day, because I'd wake up and all of a sudden I wasn't worried about what the rest of the day was going to hold. I knew that whatever it was, I could face it. And I also found that as I progressed through it, I saw more reasons to be grateful throughout the day. More things became apparent to me. And I don't want to say it was silly things, but to me, I was like, wow, that tree is so beautiful just outside my window. I've never noticed it before. And it looks so great with the glistening snow on it. And then I'd be, oh my gosh, like totally out of the norm for me, that all of a sudden I noticed something beautiful in nature, or, somebody would come to mind and I would think about just the gifts that person gave to me in our relationship, whatever it was. And so as things progressed, it started building on itself.
Yes, exactly. That's precisely what happens, because what gratitude does, gratitude, um, it's a by mindfulness is a byproduct of gratitude. So when
Mhm.
you're in a constant state of gratitude, it makes you mindful of everything. You know, nature becomes such an important part. All the students say the same thing, that, you know, things that was invisible to them all of a sudden, you know, become their focus. And that's what the course teaches. It teaches you to learn to love your life in spite of your circumstances. You know, we don't have to like everything that happens to us, but we can find something to be grateful for at any moment in your life, right? So
Absolutely.
it's how you turned um, hurt into wisdom,
Hmm.
how you take personal responsibility for your life, and in knowing that you are the architect, you're the one in control of your life, then you start to make different choices, because you cannot longer blame it on something, on somebody else, on something external. You are responsible. So, you know, the goal of the system is, yeah, it's very prescribed, you know, for the 28 days, where there are specific areas of your life for each day that you have to work on. But after the 28 days, you know, the goal is that gratitude has become a habit in your life, and that you can just, you know, on autopilot, you know, as walking or riding a bike is, that you're constantly going to look for those grateful moments in your life.
Hmm. Absolutely. I find that some days I get this overwhelming feeling of gratitude for something or someone. And I mean, I've sent you a message before, because
Yes.
just this overwhelming feeling of thank you for what you've done in my life, and the gifts that you've given me. And, you know, just it's such a rush of emotions at that time. And I've never experienced that before. But in this now habit of gratitude and spending each day being thoughtful about my thoughts and what I'm thinking about, it has changed my life exponentially. And it brought me to a place of forgiveness as well, that I'm able to look back at, you know, the traumas and the people involved in said traumas, and I've been able to forgive, and I've come to a place where I'm grateful for what has happened. And I mean, I say it all the time, it sounds weird that you're grateful for those who have hurt you, but I am, because it has led me to who I am now, to where I am, the path I'm on. And I have never felt more sure of my purpose, and I have never loved myself the way I do now. And it took 40 some odd years. But you're right, you have to also go back to childhood, because those imprints, those things that we grow up with, shape who we are and how we deal with things. And I didn't realize I was running away from myself as much as I was, until the traumas hit, and I had nowhere else to go. I was forced to look back, and I was forced to face things. We never want to look inside because we're scared of what we might find. And I had to keep telling myself, the only way out is through. The only way out is through. I can't ignore it anymore, because I came to that realization that I was attracting these things happening in my life. And that was a really hard pill to swallow. And when I accepted that responsibility, when I said, okay, I have been in such a state that I was attracting more bad things to happen, that needs to stop. And that was the aha moment for me. That was when I had to shift what I was doing, how I was thinking, and how I was moving forward. And so gratitude played a huge part in that for me, in that it shifted my thoughts. And when I started focusing on, you know, being grateful for everything and moving forward in that light, no matter what happens now, good or bad, I know that I've got the strength and the capabilities to handle whatever comes. And that instead of saying, why me, I say, what am I to learn from this?
Exactly. I think when you start to focus on the lessons, you heal. If you're constantly focusing on the hurt and the why me, you're going to get stuck in a perpetual state of suffering. And I think the important thing is for people to take that personal responsibility and to know that if you got yourself in the hole, you can get yourself in the hole as well. And we have become a society where we want instant gratification, and that's why everyone is looking for that magic pill. Like if we want to lose weight, is there a pill? If we have anxiety, our first tendency is to go to that pill. And I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist. I can only speak from my own experience. And I was highly medicated, and it didn't work, right? And I think when you can go back in time and start pruning some of your limiting beliefs that you learned as a child, and replace them from for things that are more empowering, your life will change. Your illness will shift because it's tied to an emotional component, right? So again, if you want to heal any part, we need to go back and look in the past, because a lot of people would say we don't look at the past. And I think that's sad when people say that. And I've had a lot of psychologists that would say, we don't look at the past. The past is the past, and you just have to focus on the future. Why go back and relive the trauma that you're trying to forget? And my contention, at least from my own perspective, is the past is there to teach you something. So use it as a teaching tool, right? And you can't build a future using the same behaviors, the same emotions that got you to where you are, and trying to forget that past. Right? You need a new set of tools to build that future. And so you have to go back to the past and use it in a very empowering way to make better decisions.
You don't want to live there, right? And I think that's the difference. You don't want to go back and live there, but you want to go back and take a look from a third person perspective, right? So you go and you look at these things, and I sort of did it, and I pretended, what if it was somebody else? What if it was, a kid coming to me to say this happened? What would I say to them now? And when I could take myself out of it and look into it, I was able to decipher a little bit more, perhaps, the people involved were operating at a different level of consciousness than, you would want for a kid, and didn't know how to interact, or didn't know themselves. They hadn't dealt with their own demons. And when you can step back and you can look at it from that perspective, then you stop looking at them as a perpetrator, somebody who has set out to hurt you. And that's where forgiveness starts to happen. You start seeing that they were operating from a certain level of consciousness as well, and that it was part of those steps that you needed to go through to give you the tools to learn those lessons and move forward.
You're very right in doing that. I think one of the strategies that we use in the gratitude experiment is to, go back in time and as an adult and talk to your inner child side by side. You go and find your child, whatever that is. Like my inner child is always sitting on a beach, because that was my happy place as a little girl. And to be able to go like as a third person, an observer, and talk to that child and give them whatever it is that we lacked that age. It was love, you give them love. It was protection that you needed, you give that protection. And that's how you start healing your life. And taking that personal responsibility that you're creating and you're attracting everything. Until you heal the pattern, you will attract the same circumstances that hurt you as a child into your adulthood. It's just how it works.
Yeah, and you start to recognize the pattern too, right? Like if you lived with a narcissist and that's what and you take a look at your life and you're like, oh, well, I've attracted that narcissist and this narcissist. And all of a sudden you see a pattern because it's what's familiar to you. So you start attracting what you're comfortable with because it's what you know. And then when you recognize it, then that's when that shift has to happen, where you say, okay, nope, I'm done with attracting those kinds of people because they don't serve me anymore. Right? That's not the familiar I want.
Absolutely. And I think it's connected to our inability to love ourselves, to accept ourselves for who we are, and to know our worth. And again, it's going back and giving yourself those things that you need, because once you know your worth, you're not going to allow anyone to come in and hurt you. Mm-hmm. But if you don't, you're going to continue to attract those situations. And the sad thing is that our subconscious mind, which is running 95% of our daily behaviors, doesn't know the difference of time and space. Mm-hmm. So if something happened to me as a child 30 years ago or yesterday, to the subconscious mind, it's the same, mm-hmm. right? It doesn't matter. So 100% every issue that we deal with as an adult is linked to our childhood. And that's where you need to start, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. And as scary as that is, once you tap into it and you make these realizations, it all kind of snowballs from there. Right? That's what I found, that as soon as I said, okay, here I go, and jumped in, then all of a sudden it wasn't the scary place I thought it was. And, yes, there were a lot of hurt. There was a lot of hurt. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of, anxiety that was a result of those times. But as you move forward, you get stronger. Each step, you feel a little stronger. And there's a sense of empowerment. You take back your power. And that, to me, has been the biggest thing, is that I've found who I am again. I feel like I've done this circle back to me. And now I feel like I can conquer the world. And that's all because I learned to love myself.
Yeah, it's wonderful. I think that, as we grow up at every stage, whether it's school, job, a relationship, we tend to give our power away easily. Yeah. If we're a mom, we give it away, to our husbands, to our kids, and we always come last. And there is no mistake when on the airplane they tell you that if something happens, you have to put the oxygen mask on yourself first before you can help someone else. Mm-hmm. And that is such a powerful thing, because the more you take care of yourself, the more whole you are, the better human being you're going to be, the better worker, the better mom, right? The better actress. It all starts with you. You have to have the self-awareness that you are in control of your life, and whatever you're creating, it's your responsibility. So whatever you feed in your mind, it's huge. Our thoughts have power.
Yes.
And you constantly have to prime yourself and give your life the blueprint of where you want to see yourself go. You can't wake up in the morning and just leave it to chance, because something's going to hit you. Something random is going to hit you. So wouldn't it be better to spend 5 minutes in your bed before you get up and give gratitude for your life and for the outcome of that day? Mm-hmm. Like I always tell the students, decide today who you're going to be. Mm-hmm. Decide the day you're going to have. And the key is to focus on the outcome as if it's already happened.
Yes.
Decide ahead of time, today I'm going to have a great day. Today I'm going to have an empowering day. Today I'm going to be kind. Today I'm going to be loving, whatever it is that you want to create. And because if you don't, you leave it to the randomness of the universe just to hit you with things. And the brain is so powerful. Whatever we feed it, whatever blueprint we're given, and whatever map, it goes to work. It's like, okay, Deva gave me this roadmap that today she's going to be, successful, and she's gonna, do all whatever it is that you're planning to do, and he finds a way to match that. He finds the people, he attracts the circumstances, the opportunities for you to match the blueprint you've given it. And if you're feeding your brain with constant fear, you're going to encounter more fear in your life. So you create what you put in, right? It's like you have this field and you go planting and you have seeds, right? The field doesn't care what seeds you're planting. It's gonna grow whatever you give it.
Yes.
Right? You have to give your brain the right things, the right thoughts, the right emotions, and those, you have to prune your limiting beliefs on a consistent basis. And it doesn't mean that you're never gonna feel sad. It doesn't mean you're not gonna feel anxious, that we're not gonna go through moments where we feel lost and we cry. It's okay, right? But what gratitude does is that it shrinks the time, the lapse time between, when you're sad and broken to where you get up again, right? It makes it like smaller. So your bounce back muscle becomes a lot stronger.
Absolutely.
And that time that you spend down is so much shorter. And that's what gratitude does.
I learned that firsthand, because with PTSD, when I would be triggered, it could put me out for days, weeks even. Like there were times that the trigger would be so significant that I wouldn't leave the house for a week or two, just because I couldn't face people, I couldn't face the world, I could barely deal with myself. And once I started on this gratitude journey, all of a sudden I was bouncing back in a shorter amount of time. And I recognized it right away. And I thought, oh, okay. And now I'm still triggered. PTSD is something that I will deal with for the rest of my life, because sometimes I don't even know what my triggers are. But now, instead of fighting it, I say, okay, I'm going to cry. I'm going to go through these feelings, these emotions, and I'm going to recognize that I'm in a safe place, that I wasn't safe then, I am safe now. And moving forward, that when I start shifting that thinking of, this is all to help me learn, to help me grow, to help me move forward. It doesn't feel like it right now, but in the end, I know that this ultimate gift is there waiting for me. And so my bounce back time is very quick. Last week, I think it was last Wednesday, I was in the kitchen doing dishes, and I kind of turned around and I just started to cry. And I don't know what it was, why I cried. And I think it's just sort of the buildup of, what's happening in the world right now. And, I was tired, and I just let myself cry. And at first I was like, why are you crying? You have nothing to cry about. And then I thought, no, wait, wait a minute. I need to be nurturing and gentle to myself. And so I said, cry, let it out, right? You need to relax. You need to get out these feelings, because you're justified in how you feel. And then I cried, and then I made a coffee, and then I was good.
And that's so interesting, Deva, because one of the things that a lot of people think they have to do is to ignore, the emotions and the fears that they're feeling. And unfortunately, what we resist persists. So one of the first things that you need, that we all need to do is to love our imperfections, love the fact that, we are hurting, and to always find the gratitude in it. So if you're crying, you're hurting, feel grateful, because you're human, because you have a heart, right? Because you couldn't cry unless you have loved, right? Like there's always a component of gratitude in everything that happens in our lives. And it's being able to find those little gems and to realize that we don't have to like everything, like I said before, right? But there's always something there. And when you ask yourself the right questions, it allows you to get out of that space a lot quicker. It's, asking empowering questions. Why am I feeling this way? What is the opportunity here for me to learn? What is it trying to tell me?
Mm-hmm.
What flashlight is this trigger putting on me? I need to heal.
Mm-hmm.
See, and it all, like, your life becomes a result of really the questions you ask yourself and the choices and decisions you make.
Mm-hmm.
So asking the right questions is extremely important. Even when you trigger, okay, I'm triggered, acknowledge that you are, I am feeling sad, that's okay. Love yourself enough to go through it, and then ask, okay, what is the opportunity here? Focus
Yeah.
always on the lesson.
Yes, absolutely. Now, with this program, 5 Minutes to Gratitude, or FMTG, as we call it now, it's been amazing to see the group grow and grow exponentially around the world. Like, it amazes me, all of us, talking and helping each other through life. And, people in England and India and, all over North America and South America. It blows my mind sometimes when I look at just in the few short months that this has existed, that it has grown the way it has. Where do you see it going from here?
Well, the goal is to really take FMTG to every part of the world. And, my mission is to, help people find their power, to
Yeah.
take responsibility for their lives, and to really make them understand that you are the architect, and you have gifts, and you have a responsibility for those gifts, and you have to share them with the world. And, having FMTG grow so organically is beautiful. I think the biggest aha for me was I didn't take into account the amount of healing that would take place from sharing. I didn't know it prior to the experiment, because I was writing the book. As you know, I'm looking right now for an agent and a publisher. But when I created the system, I never thought that healing was going to take place from the simple fact of having people from around the world coming together under one goal. And, when they were so open to sharing their lives and their fears, and they were so powerfully vulnerable, the healing that started to take place from that sharing was incredible for me, and an eye-opener. And so I think, book or no book, the gratitude experiment is something that definitely should go on. And I think it's something that anyone can benefit from, because it's that powerful.
It absolutely is. And I mean, you and I both, having been through the experience, you being the first and then creating this program, and then what it's done for me, we're two people right here attesting to how it works. And when I look at the community and just how supportive it is, and none of us have met, and yet I get messages from them on occasion that are so uplifting and just make me feel special. And hopefully I'm offering the same within the group as well, because it's about pushing up people. It's about raising them up, and we're all in this journey together. And when we can celebrate each other and we can support each other, then it makes life, one, more enjoyable, and two, easier to face daily issues when you've got this support system. So how can people find you? How can people find this program if it's something that they wish to add into their own life?
Well, they can send me an email, or they can find me on Facebook, the Gratitude Experiment, and, they can locate me that way, or send me an email at waleuska@fmtg.us. And, the course runs every 6 weeks. We have a new cohort every time. And, we have students that keep repeating the course because they just don't want to lose their momentum and the routine that they got themselves into. So it's quite wonderful.
Mm-hmm. I'm a lifer, just so you know. I'm a lifer in this program. Because, even when you are healed there's still benefit, right? There's still that reminder every day of just the need to continue on that path, to give, to serve, to receive love, to give love. And so, yeah, I'm in it for life. You're stuck with me.
I think, one of the important things that it keeps people accountable. And
Mm,
that's why they like it, right? It's that accountability, and they know that they have a support system, and they can always go in and share. And I think that you are never fully healed. I think we're always on a journey to healing. We're a work in progress. I mean, that's our role as humans. We incarnated, to experience suffering, to experience love, happiness, grief. Everything is just part of our humanity right now. And to be able to have that tool in your toolbox, that it doesn't matter what you go through in life, you can always turn to your gratitude. It's such
yes.
a powerful way to live life.
Yes. I found too, it's given me this purpose of wanting to serve and help others. And which is why I'm doing this podcast, which is why I'm doing some of the programs that I'm starting. It's the realization that if I can get through this, anybody can get through it. And if I can make it a little bit easier for somebody else, that's my goal. And to let people know there is hope. And there were times that I did not think there was any hope to have. I spent most days just trying to stay alive. And, I look back at that and I think, wow, like that's a really dark place to be in. And, the only thing keeping me alive was that I couldn't put my mother through dealing with another suicide and my pets.
Mm.
And so now that I can openly say that and know that there are other people out there that are feeling that same thing, I want to be that beacon of hope to say, I've been there and I've come out of it stronger, better, feeling more alive than I have ever felt in my entire life. And that if I can give just a drop of hope to somebody, that's my goal. And it all stems from gratitude and moving forward with how I think and knowing that my thoughts become things and putting myself on that path.
It's
So,
powerful. I mean, that's what gratitude does. When you have a grateful heart, it just spills over, and you can't help but wanting to share that with other people.
mm-hmm.
And it's, the side effect of that is you go out there and you want to help others, but in that process, you help yourself.
Yes.
Like, you cannot possibly help someone without also helping yourself. And to me, the gratitude experiment is like I am continuously healing myself every day. Every 6 weeks, when I have fresh new students come and they're all fearful, and some of them don't want to contribute because they're afraid to share their trauma. And when they start reading what other people write, what you realize is that, oh my God, I can relate. Oh, that happened to me. And they often say to me, it's like your life is resembling mine. And that's because we're all one. We're not separate. We are all connected. And that was a wonderful thing, that has become very apparent for myself and for all the people around the world, that we're not different. You could be from a different culture,
Mm-hmm.
different color, whatever. We are the same. We bleed the same. We love the same. We are seeking the same healing. So once you realize that you're not separate, it makes you feel stronger. It makes you
Yes.
want to give, right?
Yes.
And
When
that's a
you
big,
realize you're
big
not
product.
alone, right? And I think that was the biggest thing. I felt so alone for so long. And then that realization that we're part of this bigger picture, and it's our responsibility to take part in the world. And
Absolutely. I think, Deva, that one of the biggest uh, things for me in the course when I created the system is having people connect to their own mortality, and that's why, that is one of the two themes that repeat in the course, at the beginning and at the end, where people have to plan their own funeral and their own eulogy. And the reason why it's important is because you have to realize that we're only here for a short bit. Right? And when you can look at your life and write your story the way you want to be remembered, it puts a huge responsibility on you. At that moment, you feel responsible for that person that you are creating. Right? So you start to embody that person that you've created, and you start to wake up every day acting as that person. You start to protect the new you, and that is such a beautiful thing when you realize that every day is precious, every day it's a miracle and a privilege. So are you going to waste it?
Oh, love that. Yes. Oh, so good. And I mean, I've always looked to you as a mentor and somebody I look up to, and, to see your path and what it's done for your life, and then subsequently what you've created and what it's done for my life. I can't thank you enough, because in so many ways you saved my life. And I say that with every fiber of my being, because you did. You really did.
I think, you saved yourself. I simply provided a tool, and you were the one responsible, because I can tell the world about this message, but if you're not ready to hear the message, you're not going to do anything with it. And so I think you were the one who had enough love and resilience to hear the message and to do something with it. And that's a powerful thing. So you're the one who saved yourself. You're the one responsible, and you're the one that's now creating this beautiful life, and you're out there now saving other people's lives. And that, to me, there's nothing more rewarding than to see that.
Yes, thank you. Well, you kicked my butt, let's say it that way. You gave me the boot. Boof, get on it. So I'm so excited to see where this program goes and what you do to further impact people. And so I welcome everybody to go to Facebook, look up the gratitude experiment, and to find you to take part. Even if people feel like they don't have any past traumas to deal with, there's nothing wrong with diving into gratitude, whether you're in a good place or not, because it can only benefit your life. So I think everybody needs to check it out and see what it's all about.
Yes.
So,
yes. I have students. One of the questions that I ask when people register and they want to participate in the course is, I measure them on a scale from 1 to 10. It's one of them is like, where are you in your life? How satisfied are you in your life right now? And I got people that are 10. They say they're completely satisfied with their life, and yet they're enrolling into the course because there's always something that we can improve upon. Right?
Absolutely.
It doesn't have to be a trauma, but it's just, another way of looking at the world.
For sure. And I went in already having a gratitude practice. I was doing a gratitude journal. And so I thought, oh yeah, I've got this. I'll do it. Yeah, sure. I'll do it. And I didn't realize just how much it would impact me and how different it was just from what I was on and doing myself anyway. And then all of a sudden things started to pop up from my past that I'm going, oh, well, there's something new that I need to address and I need to deal with. And I'm not afraid of it anymore. It's kind of like, okay, here's another layer. And, I've got the tools, I've got the resources, and I have the support to face it. And so all of a sudden, I'm not scared of life anymore. And that's so powerful to me.
Beautiful. Yes. And that's because you're living your life from the lenses of gratitude, right? Only one emotion can remain at any given moment. So if you're grateful, you're not fearful, right? And the beautiful thing about the work is that you're always learning more and more about yourself. And just when you think you've healed and you have it all under control, life will surprise you. and will throw another,
Absolutely.
ball at you. And then you have to, use your tools to heal those as well. So we're never fully, out of the woods, because we're a work in progress. And that's a beautiful thing. Otherwise, life would become so boring.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. Yes. And everything changes when you start looking through that lens. Your relationships change for the better. And some you realize they had a purpose and they don't serve you anymore. And so people come in and out of your life all the time. But I'm grateful for those who are still here, and I'm grateful for those who have left, because everybody has been a stepping stone to lead me where I am now.
And that's one of the biggest things that a lot of students say, that their relationships change. And the reason that relationships change for the better is because the relationship that they had with themselves changed. Okay, that is the biggest element of the course, is that you have to learn to find yourself, be okay with who you find, not the many versions of yourself that you try to become to please people, but the authentic, the authentic Deva, the authentic Waleuska, and loving that person that you find at the other end. And when you spend time, nurturing that relationship, everything else changes, because your relationship with other people is a direct reflection of the relationship you have with yourself.
Yes.
So when you love yourself, you're going to attract people that are going to love you. If you respect yourself, you're going to find people that respect you. But in order to attract those things, you have to first live those things. You have to be those things. If you want people to trust you, learn to trust yourself. If you want someone to accept you and love you, learn to accept and love yourself. That's where it's all at. It starts with you and it ends with you. You're the one in control. You're the architect.
Love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I could talk to you forever. This has been so amazing. And I'm so excited for this episode to air, because again, I hope it reaches so many people, and that they find the beauty and the success in this path, this path called life, and doing this program that you've created. I'm excited to see where it goes. And I thank you so much for being a part of this and being a part of my life. I'm so grateful to have you in my life and to have your girls in my life. It's very special.
Thank you so much, Deva. And we love you just the same. And for everyone hearing out there, I look forward to seeing you in the course. Maybe, Deva, I don't know if on your presentation you can provide, the link or something where
I will.
The course. That would be great.
Yeah,
and thank you again for the opportunity to talk to you. And it was wonderful to see you.
Good to see you too. And I'll see you soon, because I have a lesson with your daughter tonight. So I'll be in your house again. Well, virtually. Anyway. Yes. All right. Thank you so much.